What Pharaoh did has been duplicated in history over and over again. Since the first sin of Cain killing his brother Abel, humankind has desired to kill itself when we are presented with another human life that is unlike us. Pharaoh was just one in a long line of racists committing infanticide. But Shiphrah and Puah, they couldn't agree to his plan. In verse 17, we're told, but the midwives feared God, and they did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them. The king of Egypt held a lot of power over them. He could have made their lives miserable. He could remove them from their positions of work. He could have even had them killed if he had so desired. But the emphasis on verse 17 is that they did not fear him, but rather, or at least they did not fear him in the same manner as, are you ready? They feared God. That's a point I want to return to shortly. Their actions did not go unnoticed. As in the coming verses, the king demands answers. Why didn't you do as you were told? He wants to know. You were told to go and to kill the male children, but you've not done that. They have grown and prospered. In verse number 19, they have an interesting answer. They turned back to the king and they said, because the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife comes to them. Now, everybody who's ever given birth says, that's just crazy, right? I mean, ethnicity doesn't really play a role in how you give birth. It's painful for all parties. And all the husbands said, amen, tell me all about it, right? I mean, that just seems foolish. But I want to stop and think through this for a couple of moments. Were they lying? A couple of options here. They could have been entirely telling the truth. They may have found in their own experience that they couldn't get there fast enough, but that seems unlikely. Second, they could have been telling some of the truth. Who knows, maybe they were delayed in their coming to the Hebrew women because they would just come when it became convenient so that they could say to the king, well, we weren't there at the birth. Or third, they could be utterly lying. Wonder which one it was. King wanted to know, why aren't you doing what so I told you to do? And the lady's response is, well, these women are different. They're vigorous and they give birth fast, and we can't get there fast enough. Verse number 20, we're told, listen, so God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very strong. Verse 21, and because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. Taken together, it seems pretty clear that the midwives intentionally deceived Pharaoh, and they did so knowingly and willfully because of their fear of God. They believed that their fear of Pharaoh should pale in comparison to their fear of God. And listen, God blessed them for their disobedience to Pharaoh and their obedience to him. Kind of want to stop here for a moment and ask a question. Is it ever okay to lie? If we're told here in this moment that these women were blessed as a direct result of their deception to Pharaoh, would we learn from their lives that there's an appropriate moment in which it is to lie? God seems to have blessed these women for their deceit, so would he do that to us as well? Boy, there's a tempting question there, isn't there? Maybe sometimes do the means outweigh the end? Or does the end outweigh the means? Is there a moment in time in our Christianity sometimes where we wonder, wait, maybe it would be proper to be deceitful? The writer doesn't seem too concerned with that answer, and I wish he was, because I'd like to have a good answer this morning. But his point that he wants to make is clear, that the women obeyed God out of fear of him, even when civil disobedience was required, and that God blessed them for it.